So, what if I told you there's this massive, multi-billion-dollar economic opportunity for Pakistan, and it's hiding in plain sight, right inside the global fight against climate change, an opportunity that, as you're about to see, is being almost completely overlooked.
All right, let's just jump right in. $100 billion. Get your head around that number. That's how much the global carbon credit market is projected to be worth every year by 2030. And just to be super clear, this isn't some complicated loan. It's a huge pool of money just waiting for countries with green projects.
But here's the kicker. Take a look at this. Out of that enormous global pie, Pakistan's slice is, well, it's barely a crumb, less than 0.5%. And that massive gap between the potential and the reality, that's the heart of the problem we're digging into today.
So how are we going to make sense of all this? Well, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at just how big this missed opportunity is. Then, we'll get into what carbon credits even are. We'll see some real proof that this can actually be done, uncover what I'm calling Pakistan's untapped green gold mine, and then we'll wrap it all up with a $57 billion question.
Okay, first up, the billion-dollar mess. You know, while the rest of the world is racing to build this new green economy, fueled by literally billions of dollars, it kind of feels like Pakistan is still in the starting blocks, just watching this massive opportunity fly by.
Which, brings us to the really basic question. What in the world are these things? Let's break down how you can actually turn green actions, like planting trees, into cold hard cash from the global market.
So, the textbook definition is that a carbon credit is a permit that lets someone emit 1 ton of CO2. But honestly, the real magic isn't in the polluting part, it's on the flip side. Projects that reduce or suck up CO2 from the air, like building a dam or planting a forest, they get to earn these credits, which they can then sell.
But let's make it even simpler. Think about it like this. Step 1, a green project, let's say a brand new forest, pulls 1 ton of CO2 out of the atmosphere. Step 2, doing that creates one tradable thing called a carbon credit. And step 3, a company that pollutes, maybe on the other side of the world, has to buy that credit. It's basically like they're paying a fine for polluting, and the money goes directly to the people cleaning up the air. Simple as that.
And here's the most important part, the part you really need to remember. This money is a grant. It is not a loan. There's no interest, no strings attached, and it never, ever has to be paid back. It's a direct payment for doing something good for the planet.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work? Well, let's look at the proof. We've got an amazing local success story and, well, a little peek at a regional rival that's already miles ahead.
For proof, you don't have to look any further than the Delta Blue Carbon Project. The Sindh government is bringing back these huge, vital mangrove forests right where the Indus River flows into the sea. And this isn't some plan for the future, it's happening right now.
And get this, it is already paying off. Big time. This one project has already earned $40 million in carbon credits, and the long-term goal? They're planning to earn a staggering $12 billion by 2075. From this one project. This proves the model works, right here in Pakistan.
But while Pakistan has this one fantastic example, the competition is not sitting around and waiting. India, right next door, is going after these credits like crazy for all of its green projects, hydro, solar, you name it. And they're using that money to make their green energy even cheaper and build it even faster.
And this brings us to Pakistan's untapped green gold mine. Because beyond those mangroves, the country has these massive environmental assets that are just sitting there, waiting to be turned into cash.
I mean, the country is sitting on a potential treasure trove. Its big hydropower dams, the huge billion-tree tsunami projects, hundreds of smaller hydro plants, and all the other solar and wind projects. Every single one of them is a potential revenue stream. Let's just zoom in on hydropower for a second. The potential here is just immense. A study way back in 2011 found 34 projects that were eligible. The reality today? More than a decade has passed and not a single credit has been claimed. Zero. The Diamer Basha Dam by itself could bring in an estimated $300 million in free money, but the paperwork to get it done, it hasn't even moved forward.
But of all the potential assets, the real crown jewel, the biggest prize of them all, has got to be the 10 billion tree tsunami project. Just to give you an idea of the sheer scale we're talking about, if this project is finished, it would create a new forest area covering 9 million acres. It's just a monumental undertaking.
And the financial prize would be just as monumental. The potential earnings from the carbon that this massive forest would capture over the next 50 years is estimated to be $57 billion. That's more than $1 billion a year, every single year, from just this one project.
And that brings us to our final section, and really the whole point of this discussion, the $57 billion question. It's a story defined by this incredible paradox, right? This clash between being extremely vulnerable and having this unbelievable opportunity.
And here is that paradox in one simple chart. The tiny bar on the left, that's Pakistan's contribution to global CO2 emissions. Less than 0.5%, basically nothing. The huge bar right next to it, that's its ranking for climate change vulnerability, 7th highest in the entire world. A tiny, tiny contributor, but one of the biggest victims.
So, that leaves us with one final unavoidable question. As a major victim of climate change, a country that happens to be holding billions of dollars worth of green assets that the world is literally lining up to pay for, why is Pakistan leaving this economic lifeline just sitting on the table?